What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hero or Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking one comic book character. As we do every single week, we talk their good points and their bad points, and we just give you a bit of a rundown of everything to do with that character. I am joined as always by my best man, Mr. Shaun Mead. Shaun, how is it going?
I am good, Conor. Cards on the table. I logged on to the call today and kind of thought it might have been my Hero or Zero and I forgot about it.
I have that some weeks where there's like a 5 minutes just before we start recording and I go, oh fuck.
Fuck me. Oh no.
Can I freewheel a DC character?
Yeah, can I just bullshit for half an hour? And some would say that's all we do.
So, we're doing Batman again.
Let me tell you about Kraven the Hunter, folks.
Let me tell you about Robin's Reckoning, part 1 and 2 from Batman the Animated Series. Scene by scene.
You the animated series to fall back on, of course.
So if this is your first episode, you don't have to do anything, just chill out. If it's your second or above, we'd really appreciate 5 stars, a like, a follow, a share. Shaun, we are currently doing a new process in which every time we get a 5-star review on Spotify, so we were going for 150 5-star reviews on Spotify before the summer solstice, right? And then we got that way too early because everyone was a legend and they were all super nice, and thank you everyone for listening to this. But it meant we had a lot of weeks to fill without pitching the 150 5-star reviews. So then we came up with a new plan of, for every 5-star review over 150 that we get, Shaun has to give us a summer solstice fact. And Shaun, another week has gone by. Another week where you have had time to prepare, knowing that somebody would fuck with you.
7 days I've had to simply Google solstice fact.
Can I ask you one question before I ask you the main question, and that is, did you forget again?
I did indeed forget again.
Every week, without fail.
Yeah.
So Shaun, I need one summer solstice fact from you this week, and don't involve crabs or lobsters, please.
What? Conor, what are you doing to me here?
Because we've had 5, and up to this point it's been shit.
Okay. In Celtic mythology, it is when the early pagans in Ireland would worship the sun god, Lugh. L-U-G-H. There you are.
What does that have to do with the summer solstice?
It was the same day.
Alright, fair enough. Okay, good. Right, he gets away one more week. Everyone listening to this, if you haven't given 5 stars, if you give even 3 or 4, we could fuck him up for a whole... that's going to be a great episode.
You're willing to sacrifice stars to fuck me up?
Because, no, as in like, if we give 3 or 4 more 5-star reviews on Spotify... Well, then next week, Shaun, if in the next 7 days, you have to give us 4 facts, and you can't really even come up with 1.
I came up with 1 just now, and but I'll be honest, the well is dry.
The panic in your eyes.
Genuine fear is what I experience on this show.
So, Shaun, you normally cover DC or Marvel characters. I normally cover DC characters.
True.
And I am ramping up because I want to talk about a story that's very close to my heart. You did Secret Wars, which people were very much praising you for, saying like, oh, you're the best thing ever, you're the smartest boy of all time. And I'll be honest with you, it angered me. It angered me, and
can't be happy for your friend, no?
No matter how many more listeners we got, no matter how many more reviews we got, I got more angry.
Fuck, this is great for the show, but terrible for me personally.
So I said I'm going to do my own storyline, Hero or Zero, where we might cover it over multiple weeks. But it also meant that I had to start doing a few introduction to characters of that might appear in those issues that I'm covering. And so what I'm going to do this week, Shaun, is a character I have been putting off for 6 years. Because this character had a very strong impression on 16-year-old Conor when he was reading him for the first time.
Is he rad as fuck?
No.
Oh, okay.
This might be the one time where I'm going to say this character is disgusting. but like horror level,
Right.
like fucked up.
Okay. So the impression he left on you was not a good one, is what you're telling me.
No, I was scared, I think, because he does a lot of the stuff to Robin. So like, you know me, Robin boy. So I was immediately like, I'm not feeling this lad's vibe. I don't know what he's bringing to the party, but I don't like it.
Just imagining you reading it at like the kitchen table, and like you're saying it to your father, just like, I don't like what this guy's up to.
I just like big fist, just like slamming the table. No.
Damn it, Robin.
So I am going to be covering Professor Pig, Shaun, this week. Yes.
Oh,
Now,
I know some of Professor Pig.
Professor Pig is a character I don't think a lot of people are going to know. He's a much newer Batman antagonist of like the mid 2000s, but he has a very strong impression once you see what he does. I don't think you ever forget it. Yeah. So the people who know him.
Yeah, and the exposure I've had is YouTube shorts. It's always the most horrifying Batman villain is how it's described.
Yeah. So I'm going to be covering Laszlo Valentine, created by Grant Morrison and Andy Kubert. So this is during Grant Morrison's run from, I think it's 06 to 2013. I might be wrong slightly on those dates. He did Batman straight through. Right? And Grant Morrison, I would just know, one of the best comic book writers of all time. Just kind of, if you're involved in a character, you're like, oh, I think they're neat from like the 90s or 2000s. Grant's probably been around. He's probably had an idea somewhere around that.
And he also did Aztec, let's not forget.
Shaun loves Aztec, his one character from the 90s that he threw into the Justice League comic he was doing.
Yeah, I was just like, I think he's neat.
What's Aztec's backstory again?
I don't know. Is a man can talk to animals, right?
No, that's Animal Man, you idiot.
It's Animal Man. Sorry, that makes more sense. But Animal Man is an alien power based thing.
Look, we're not going to get into it, right? But when we talk about new Batman antagonists, you know, characters that came into the mix in the 2000s, it's easy to get caught up in like the big name A-listers. So like you got the Court of Owls, Red Hood. They steal a lot of the spotlight when it comes to Batman stuff. Yeah. And look, I like them too, but the unsung hero, or I would say the biggest villain of the rogues gallery that appears around Batman comics then, is one Professor Pig. He is possibly the most messed up villain ever conceptualized and done on pages just in a Batman comic, including the Joker or any of the stuff that they've done.
Yeah, they really ramped up the, hey, let's just make the most horrendous character you can possibly think of.
So Grant Morrison, in an interview with IGN, described Pig as one of the weirdest, most insane characters that's ever been in Batman. We hear a lot about Batman facing crazy villains, but what we tried to do was make this guy seem genuinely disturbed and disconnected in every single way.
We want to genuinely upset people as they read this.
Yeah. Now, he makes his first appearance in Batman 666. Pretty good.
Nice. Pretty alright.
But he actually, that is set in the future. It's non-canon. And what it is, it's an issue of Damian Wayne is Batman. It's set in the future. Damian Wayne has sold his soul to Satan. And he is Batman. And Professor Pig is actually a mob boss who Damian Wayne is tracking down killers. And Professor Pig is one of the mob bosses that's killed. So
right. Okay.
You just see his body. He's on a crucifix. So, and Damian Wayne says, oh, that's Professor Pig. But this is obviously the very first introduction, so nobody knows who he is. So what they did was, Grant Morrison introduces him in Batman 666, and then, of course, he's like, wouldn't it be cool if we seen his origins as well?
Yeah, we see where he comes from.
Yeah, because Grant Morrison has this thing where, like, in even the smaller characters, if they're introduced in any way, he'll always somehow like weave a web that they reconnect like even 50 issues later, or like there's like they're always, and sometimes look, it doesn't hit, sometimes it makes no fucking sense, but he always aims that if he introduces somebody, it'll connect somewhere along the line.
Yeah, and so like as you say, like the random side character that you see could end up being important, or you'll just see them again and it fleshes out the world a little bit.
Exactly. Now in the future, he is shown without his iconic mask. He's just an ugly man with a pig-like appearance. So not great. But
like myself.
I was going to read Sean's report. 001 Sean.
Oh,
You big go. Hey!
Fucking got him.
Fucking got him. Yeah, I should have said Professor Pig, aka Sean.
We can edit that in, that's fine.
Kids, if you're in school, use that tomorrow. It's a really fucking good one.
Yeah.
Or on Monday, actually.
Do it on a Monday. It'll really fuck up their whole week.
9 o'clock Monday morning when they're at their most tight. Look at your friend, you go, hey, who's this? Professor Pig? Professor Pig's after showing up. Hey!
And then press play on the episode, and then they'll hear that we were the ones that actually bullied them.
And then ask them for 5 stars.
Yeah, please, if you don't mind. And assaults as well.
I know I've just bullied you. Can you give this 5 stars? Thank you very much. So not only is he found crucified upside down, but he has a spike put through his mouth in that story, so that's good. And you know who kills him in the future, which is the only reason I'm bringing this story up, is Michael Washington Lane, or Bat Devil, as he's known in that story.
Who you did a report on a couple of weeks ago is Azrael in the main continuity.
Yeah, so he is killed by Michael Lane. So I'm Grant Morrison in this show, and I'm connecting it all together.
Interesting. I can't wait to hear even more connections of the stories.
I'm as good an author as Grant Morrison. It's confirmed.
I am Grant Morrison.
I want his royalties. Pig made his present day debut in the first arc of Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely's Batman and Robin-ish series, serving as the first enemy of the new team of Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne to test themselves again. So this might come up again, Sean, but this is a story where Dick Grayson is Batman and Damian Wayne is Robin. And these are the first issues of them coming together to work as Batman and Robin, because something's happened to Bruce. And
can we hear more about that, Conor?
We might hear more about that eventually. But so he arrives in Gotham with his Circus of Strange to peddle mind-altering drugs and create more Dolotrons for himself, Sean. Now, what's a Dolotron? I hear you ask.
What's a Dolotron, Conor?
No, I already asked that.
No, oh, sorry. Well, it's some kind of doll.
You now have to take the report on.
You've tagged me in.
They are kidnapped victims of Pig, whom he operates on to make them perfect by taking everything unique away from them and turning them into identical slaves controlled by his drugs.
Really, really horrendous shit.
Great stuff. Like, basically he's a Saw villain, but in a Batman comic.
Yeah, like, and there's an element of like Seven in there as well. Mm-hmm. Like, just the worst serial killers you can imagine. Yeah.
So the character and the name were inspired by the song Pygmalism, itself inspired by the play Pygmalion, which you might know as, better known as My Fair Lady. So George Bernard Shaw is involved in all that stuff as well. So connections to those, Sean.
One of the lads, you know.
One of the lads. He's one of the boys, right?
He's one of the boys. He's out with Killian.
All these adaptations go back to the myth of Pygmalion, a Greek sculptor who devoted himself to perfection in his work, eventually creating a sculpture of a woman so beautiful that she came to life. Similarly, Professor Pig seeks perfection through his hideous Dolotrons, kidnapping and torturing innocent people as part of his efforts to create the perfect little human or thing that he imagines.
But he's never going to make the perfect one, so he's just kidnapping and torture. Because they live as well. He's not just killing them.
Oh no, they're I'll get more into it, but yeah, they are awake. What I would say.
Don't like that at all.
So Laszlo Valentin's origins are largely mysterious. Supposedly he was a chemist who worked for the secret government agency known as Spiral. According to this origin, he's exposed to his own neurotoxin, which has been designed to imitate Alzheimer's disease. This left Valentin as a schizophrenic who has developed an obsession with making people perfect. And so that's kind of some of his stuff. Obviously, a lot of it's mysterious. The New 52 has introduced some parts as well. So a lot of it involves he worked for Spiral or he was working on some Nazi stuff. So just not a nice guy.
No, he's one of the baddies.
So as the Pygmalion inspired, Professor Pig, Laszlo, uses cordless drills, hammers, ice picks, along with the doll faces, in the process of converting his victims into Dollatrons. It appears the operation he performs involves, and Shaun, you're going to love this, kidnapping people, strapping them to a table. Then, as they beg for their life, maybe perhaps playing some music, saying some incredibly strange and vile and disgusting things while they beg for their lives. Then he just begins to start swaying just with the music, you know how he's just feeling himself, and he's just like, I'm just going to make you perfect, don't worry about it.
This is really unpleasant.
Imagine reading this when he's
this would fuck a man up at 16.
It ruined my day. Then he evolves brain surgery or some form of lobotomization, and then he gets his gas, or like his poisonous gas or his mind-altering gas, and he again puts their masks on them because he's making them dolls. He has little doll masks that he then stitches to your face, so you are now lobotomized and now a doll of his.
Truly awful. And also, doll faces are fucking weird anyway.
Yeah. Well, he's wearing a pig mask, and then he has doll faces. So he's got a whole crew of Dollatrons who are just regular people that he has kidnapped, experimented on until they've gone insane, and now they work as part of his crew.
I'm going to look up a Dollatron, because I feel like this might fuck.
You don't want to. Yeah, please don't. It's going to ruin your day.
Yeah, no, it's real bad. God, I don't like this.
Oh, he does it to children as well. It's loads of them.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at here is a child. What a truly, truly awful fucker.
He's just... I mean, if there's anybody that I could use this word for in comic, Shaun, Professor Pig is a cunt, right? Just straight up, right?
It's like Reed Richards and then him.
Yeah, and then even Reed's like, all right, like, calm down. What the fuck is going on here? So what happens is he's part of his Circus of Strange, which includes characters that I'm not going to cover in Hero Zeros, but they are Mr. Toad, Phosphorus Rex, Big Top, and Seam. But he's later persuaded to move to Gotham City by the evil Dr. Simon Hurt, who we might mention at some stage in the future.
Okay.
But he doesn't really care about any of that. He just cares about artistic perfection. And he fancies himself as something of a sculpture. So he's sculpting these very flawed beings into perfection. And they're not
But he has to
him.
do it so many times.
Yeah, well, look, sometimes he gets it wrong, but he's willing to try again, and you have to respect that about the lad. Shaun, I'm going to talk about some other things that really freak me about this character, because if I know it, and it's in my brain, I want you to know it, and I want the listeners to know it.
Trauma shared is a trauma halved, of course.
I agree, Shaun. Let's all bask in this together, because his only source of comfort is his wire mother, which is a massive stick that he's surrounded with wires and a face on the top. He sees it as his mother, he screams at it, and he's just like, you always want too much from me, you always want perfection, I can never live up to what you're doing, because, insane.
Yeah.
This is because Grant Morrison read about a thing called the Wire
monkey.
Mother experiments,
Yeah.
which were done by American psychologist Harry Harlow. And this involved giving a group of monkeys two mothers, the cloth mother and the wire mother. And they were both just stick figures, but one was covered in cloth and one was covered in wire. And the test revealed that the monkeys overwhelmingly preferred the cloth mother, even if neither of them have anything to offer. There's no food, there's no anything. The monkeys will just choose the cloth one instead of the wire one.
Yeah, there was even, I think, a variation of it where they put milk or something or some kind of food with the wire mother, and they wouldn't go near it sometimes. They would,
unless they were starving.
Yeah, like if they were already well fed, they would still just go to the cloth mother.
Yeah, so that he has a wire mother without any cloth mother, which implies that Professor Pig prefers the hideous and the terrifying to the warm and the loving. Because Grant Morrison, if he's going to do it, he's going to do it.
He's fucking going all out, really.
You got to respect that about the lad, right? He's not going to fuck about. And so I think Professor is a great character. It's a great character trait that doesn't really get explored enough. His main focus shifts to his obsession with perfection over the years. And so Professor Pig was defeated by Batman and Robin in their first encounter, but they soon discovered that his appearance in Gotham was part of a larger plot by Dr. Simon Hurt, who used Pig as part of his final scheme to destroy Gotham. Pig develops a virus that manifests as an addiction, forcing people to do anything in an attempt to get the fix after he gets them addicted to it without them even knowing.
Right, so they're craving something that they don't know what it is.
Yeah, and then he's like, I have the fix for you.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. He's just got, like, think of like Scarecrow style, but like different. So in the years since, by the way, what happens then is Bruce Wayne comes back from wherever he was, Shaun.
What happened in the meantime?
Don't know. Dick and Damien are able to leave Dr. Hurt to him, and they fight Pig. Now, Damien and Pig have a really interesting history in that. So because that story is Dick Grayson as Batman, Damian Wayne as Robin, Professor Pig, that's his first main introduction. It's Grant Morrison's run. And they do this really fascinating thing where obviously you have the most horrifying villain of all time, and you have a really inexperienced Batman and Robin working together. And they don't get on well, and they're not a good team. And it means that multiple people get kidnapped more than they need to be because they don't quite get there in time, or they fuck it up, or something along those lines.
And then that causes more stress on the relationship as well.
And eventually it all blows up when they actually have a massive fight. Damien goes after Professor Pig by himself because he's like, I should be Batman. Fuck you. You're not my real dad. You're not Bruce at all. I'm going to show you how to actually be a hero around here. And Dick's like, that's a bad idea.
But Dave's like, you're 12, first of all.
Dave's like, I'm really good though, right? And like, he's Damian Wayne, so he's just a shithouse. Yeah. So he runs off, immediately gets kidnapped, and in one of the most horrifying comic book panels I've ever read, or multiple panels, he is tied up, and Professor Pig and him have an entire scene where Professor Pig is literally like just saying the maddest shit you've ever seen in your life. And I would recommend anyone finding the panel, just because he's playing music and he's talking about like him at a dance, finding like, imagine seeing a beautiful man across the way, but then he's got horrible feet. He's not perfect. I could make him perfect. Like, just going massively ranting about things that don't make any sense. Damien is completely tied up, and remember, he's 12, so he's still a child, and he might act super tough, and he might act like he's the big dog, but
he is a baby.
He is a child. And so what happens is, eventually that gets resolved. I might touch on that at some stage as well. But afterwards, there's a really great scene where Damien's like, that was really scary. Really fucked up. And
that's really interesting, because there's a bit in Secret Wars where Valeria is like, I'm really smart and capable, but I am still a child and I can't emotionally process this yet. Damien kind of has the same vibe in that moment.
It's a great thing because it kind of takes it back to there's an annual for Robin years and years ago, and it's Dick Grayson's first night, or one of his first nights, and it's all fun and games. It's all a bit of crack. And then there's a massive, really important scene with Two-Face where he nearly dies. And he gets kidnapped. And like, there's a real like life and death situation, and Batman has to save him. And like, he was like seconds from death. and he has PTSD for a long time. And there's a really cool mirror image that Grant Morrison does here, where Damien kind of has the same thing happen to him, and then Dick is now the Batman, and so Dick shows up to save him, and then Damien's like pretending like it doesn't matter, and Dick's like, dude, that's fucked up. What just happened?
This is awful. And that's also, but Batman did that for Dick.
Yeah.
But even like being comforting him on shared trauma. Like, Dick literally had, that's really good. Grant Morrison's good.
It's good stuff, right? And so Professor Pig drives that whole entire plot, right? He also has, he appears in a volume of Nightwing, I think, like around the 2020, in an arc that harkened back to Morrison. Morrison's no longer writing this. This is a Nightwing issue, a decade later. Dick and Damien team up once again to save Dick's girlfriend from the crazed surgeon. Pig had created 2 Dollatrons in the form of Deathwing and Robin, brainwashing them into believing that they were Dick and Damien, who were going around and just like killing people or doing some mad shit, and they were dressed in full like Nightwing and Robin guard, but they look like zombie Nightwing and Robin.
Cool. They're a little bit fucked up looking.
They're fucked. They're like they tried to replicate them, but like the Fly version. Like they're not quite there. And so while Dollatron Robin is able to fight through his conditioning, Deathwing has gone too far, and they have to basically try and defeat him. But he escapes. But they defeat Professor Pig again. Whenever I think of Professor Pig, I always think of Dick and Damien. I don't think of Batman or Tim Drake or Jason Todd as much. It's just those two, for some reason, because he had such a massive impact on Damien when he was young, and Dick saved Damien, that those characters are intrinsically linked.
He's their villain, basically. Like
he's their big fucked up villain, right? So if this all sounds gross and potentially lethal, believe me, it is. Laszlo, despite his complete insanity, is actually a pretty gifted chemist and surgeon. It's just that he uses those skills to kidnap and then medically alter his victims, children, adults, whoever it is, believes just trying to make them the ideal human shape. Those victims are turned into brainwashed Dollatrons, who are either turned into permanent art installations for his aesthetic, or forced to be henchmen for his bigger project, whatever he feels like on the day. It's as unpleasant and grotesque as it is painful, and even if the Dollatron victims are rescued, they're usually left permanently scarred and traumatised by the entire experience, like just completely messed up forever.
And can they get their minds back, or is that just
gone? They can, but they can, but they're also like, no, not fully.
Yeah, you're never going to be the same person again after that. Yeah.
This is, like, it's not Joker venom or like Mad Hatter's mind control. This is permanent. This is physical alteration with a scalpel and a needle and drills and a whole host of other unpleasant things done to your body.
Oh. Yeah. I really hate this dude. Yeah. Hot take.
There's a really great. That's why I didn't want to talk about him, Sean. I thought it would bum everybody out. There's a mission in Batman Arkham Knight, the video game. Professor Pig is in that game, and he has a side quest where you start finding random bodies places just tied up, and you have to track him down. And there's a load of people just found dead, and so you eventually discover that Pig abducts people using the Circus of Strange, and they're people who don't meet his standards of perfection. And so it's like he shows up, and it's a really great side mission, because as Batman you finally get his base, and you walk in and there's opera music playing, and he's like singing along to it, and he's just like, and then you round the corner and he's got someone strapped to the fucking gurney, and he's like slicing them up, but he's like singing.
And do you fight a bunch of the Dollatrons then as well?
Of course you do. All the Dollatrons come in, you're fighting him and the Dollatrons simultaneously. You're trying to keep and there's like a whole cage of people who are all going to be fucking experimented on next.
That's really fucked for Batman, just to be fighting objectively innocent people as well.
Yeah.
Like awful.
what I'm saying to you, right, and this is, I'm going to try and end this, is that you do not under any circumstances want to run into Professor Pig at any times. There are plenty of fates worse than your average run-of-the-mill crime in Gotham, but falling into Pig's hands might very well be the literal worst thing that could possibly happen.
I guess, because, like, Two-Face will just kill you.
Yeah.
But, like, Pig will torture you and fuck you.
And he's not really angling for, like, the pure chaos, like the Joker. He's not really, like, systematic, like Victor Zsasz. Like, he's not after anything. There's no vendetta or plan or higher purpose. He's only motivated by art. So he doesn't even follow a pattern or even, like, build up to a punchline in any way.
And he thinks he's doing good stuff as well.
Yeah. And while he kills you or butchers you, he will be like reciting nursery rhymes, singing opera, just telling you made up stories.
I mean, Conor, this is coming out at 8 a.m. Like,
yeah, it's ruined everyone's day. I'll be honest with you, Sean, it ruined my day doing this, right? So,
I have shit to do after this.
In other words, he might honestly be the worst and scariest person in Gotham, which is no small feat. I would rather run into Scarecrow, Dr. Crane, than Laszlo Valentine on the street any day.
I think so because one of them, at least it will be over at some point.
Yeah. One of them, you're not in a saw trap. Actually, even the saw traps come to an end. But, like,
true.
He either keeps you alive and lobotomizes you, just so you're kind of there, or you're a Dollatron.
Yeah, or you're some weird art piece that he just has.
Yeah. And I'm going to finish my report on Sean. And look, I assume I've ruined everyone's day, and I'm happy enough with that, because I knew this for years, and sometimes... as you said, I needed to share this trauma. I think it's good.
Do you feel lighter? Do you feel like you've grown as a person?
I feel like I've ruined everyone else's day. I don't feel better.
Interesting. I'm not sure that's how therapy works.
Powers and ability, Sean. I have one sentence. Pig does not have any superhuman powers. He has no powers whatsoever.
He is just a monster.
He's got no... like... There's nothing wrong with him. He's got no powers. It's just psychologically he just loves experimenting on people.
Yeah, like he could use his surgical skills for good, but he just prefers torturing people.
Well, he got infected by that one gas that one time that he made for the Nazis or for Spiral or whoever. So, like, it's just turned him insane.
There's your lesson for today. Don't huff Nazi gas.
Don't be working with the Nazis. Step one.
Fuck Nazis, alright?
I'm going to go with that strongly. And then after that you go, do you have any killer gas?
Yeah.
I don't want that either.
And then number 3, stay away from the pigman, please.
If the pigman gets you, oh boys, not good. So that is my report on Professor Pig, the worst thing I've ever done, and I'm not happy I have to do it, but there you go.
I'm happy I learned something today, Conor.
Great. You know how bad a villain has to be for Damian Wayne to be like, actually, you know what, maybe I don't have this.
Actually, this was a terrible time.
I actually have to process my emotions.
Damian Wayne would like a hug, please.
He kind of needs a hug after it.
What do you want me to take us out, Conor? It was a very good report.
Yeah, sure, why not?
What an episode, folks. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We will be back on Monday with the Heroes for Hire podcast and the Heroes for Hire podcast presents Weird News. And then we'll be back next week with another episode of Hero or Zero. Big thank you to everyone over on Patreon, patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. The merch store is heroesforhire.ie/shop. Twitter's @HeroesForHirePod, 4 is the number 4. Facebook is the Tech Discussion Group. Instagram is Heroes for Hire podcast. Blue Sky is Heroes for Hire podcast. And the best way to ever help with the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just the one, please.
And I think that's about it, Conor.
I think so. I've been Conor Lawler.
Shaun.
And I'm really sorry. I'll see you all next week.
Bye.